Thank you. Hi, everyone. So I'm Andreas. I work for Twitter. I'm sure you can tell from all the birds everywhere. So I'll be talking about D3 with React. You already heard a little bit about D3 and React yesterday when Colin spoke about Victory.js. I'll be taking a slightly different angle. But before I get started with the D3 and React side of things, I am going to be taking just 2 minutes of your time to talk about a slightly different subject. It's a slightly sensitive subject as well, but I think it should be brought up, and I think this is the right crowd for it as well. So I'm just going to go ahead. The world of tech has a diversity problem, right? And that's a problem that we all need to own up to. I don't think it's fair to put heat on conference organizers or employers alone. It's all of our responsibilities to actually tackle this problem. It's a hard problem. We all have biases, right? I'm not pointing the finger at anyone. I'm pointing the finger at everyone in the world. If you haven't watched Facebook's Managing Unconscious Bias, then you should go watch it. Because we all have biases, and it's just a matter of accepting them and knowing that we're doing this. So this is just a call to arms. I just want to tell all of you that we should all be rallying together to fix this problem. And I think the best way to do it is to just get everyone behind it. And I don't know what, I don't have all the answers. I don't know how to fix this problem alone. So I have a suggestion, and maybe I'll be the only one that gets in on this suggestion. But I say, make tech diverse. Use that hashtag, share your ideas on how you could make the world of tech more diverse. I think it's important for all of us. I think the more ideas we have, the better we can make things. And going forward, we can work in an industry that we're all proud of and we all believe in. But yeah, thanks for hearing me out on this subject. I tweeted about it just now as well. If you see other people tweeting with this hashtag with a good idea, I say spread the word. The more people that see it, the better. But again, I'll reiterate on what I just said. It's everyone's responsibility, and I'm not trying to point any fingers at anyone. And again, I'm going to reiterate that, in Reactive's case, they did a lot. They heard a lot of feedback, and they did a lot to try and make this conference as diverse as they could. But they're not conference experts, and they're not diversity experts. None of us really are, but the more we talk about it, the better we'll get at it. So yeah, let's make it happen. So, completely changing subject, D3 and React. So if you think about these two libraries, they have a huge similarity in that it's all about the data, right? You give some data and something happens. In two slightly different contexts. One is all about the data visualization, and the other one is all about the views and what you see in front of you. You'd think that they're very easy to work with together and that they're a natural fit, but not quite, just because if you think about React, it's all about the virtual DOM. You don't want to actually touch the DOM itself. You want to work inside the virtual DOM, whereas D3 does the exact opposite. It's all about binding itself on the DOM and doing everything there and then. So it's in a way two different worlds, and it's an interesting world, and there's been a whole bunch of different approaches to try and sort of figure out how to combine D3 with React. So I'm just going to go briefly through 2 or 3 of those that were the highlights for me, at least, the most interesting ones, and the ones that sort of made me think, what's the best way to do this? So one of the first posts that I read on this was from Binary Consulting. Really cool name, by the way. I kept calling it 10 Consulting, but then I figured it's actually Binary Consulting. There's a really nice blog post talking about manipulating SVG elements with React, and it was talking about, is this the future of charting? It was a very interesting read, and if you're interested in the history of how people have used D3 and React together, you should read it. It's quite cool. Then there was Nicholas Harry talking about letting each library do its thing. And then relatively more recently, Colin, who spoke yesterday, wrote a really good blog post titled D3 for Maths, React for Rendering. and using layouts. And I was really excited when I read that. I was really interested. And then when I found out that Colin was actually speaking here a few weeks ago, or months now, I sent him a message and I'm like, whoa, you're speaking, that's great. And then he's like, oh, remember that blog post? Well, Victory is a continuation of it. So I heard all about it, so that was really great. So these are just a handful of solutions that caught quite a bit of traction. People were talking about them quite a bit. A lot of people tried various different things. And then the natural question to this is, so what's the best way? What should I be doing? How should I be using D3 and React together? My answer is, it very much depends. So are you starting from scratch? Are you working on a greenfield project? Then my advice is go use something like Victory.js because it's nice and easy. Colin talked all about it yesterday. And especially if you're not comfortable with D3 and its syntax, then I say go for it. On the flip side, though, if you're rewriting an existing app, then chances are that you have something like a backbone app with Marionette, and then you have your D3 charts already there. Do you actually want to rewrite everything in one go? Do you want to actually integrate React and D3 very closely? That's more complicated. And then the other question is what you need out there. So Victory.js is very cool, for example. It's got like a handful of visualizations available, but maybe you're after something that's not out there and you need to use pure D3. So what's the best way to combine pure D3 with React? And then, do you actually have time? We all love to refactor, or well, at least I do. But it's a matter of, do you have the time to refactor? Can you stop pushing out features so that you can rewrite something? It's always that balance that you need to figure out. So it's not really an easy question. And then we all kind of go crazy as front-end developers when something new comes out. We want to change everything to whatever is new and cool. Like, we all want to go crazy on reacting everything. If you see anything that's not React, you panic. People talk about jQuery, and people in this room are like, whoa, jQuery, that's crazy. But a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, you were all writing jQuery. So don't lie to yourselves. So, the temptation is there to want to actually react absolutely everything. But the truth is, changing everything in one go is risky. I think most of you would have probably experienced this. Trying to change too many things at a time will break many more things that you can imagine. And I don't think that's something we want to do. And then the other thing is getting React to do all the work in terms of what D3 does is not actually a walk in the park. It's not a very easy thing to do. If you want someone to actually vouch for this, just ask Colin and look at Victory.js. Very impressive project, but obviously it takes hard work to do that, right? And then for whoever has watched this talk by Ryan Florence at React Europe, that was titled Don't Rewrite React, he spoke all about how you shouldn't be going wild, rewriting absolutely everything. Take it one step at a time, one component at a time. And I agree on this, and I think in the context of D3, it makes sense to do that as well. So if you have a large application and you have D3 visualizations as well, don't be tempted to say, okay, I need to rewrite all my visualizations to be in line with React. I need React to do the rendering. I say, take a step back, start rewriting your views, and keep your D3 visualizations as they are. You can do that. It's not impossible to do. And then you can slowly transition. If you feel like you want that kind of syntax, you want React to do everything for you, you can do that. It's okay. So, based on Nicholas Harry's blog post and his idea of mapping basically React's lifecycle methods to creation, updating, and removing of a D3 chart, I built a little something. GitHub page is there. It's nothing complicated. It's actually quite simple. The idea is that you just make sure that every time something so when the component does mount, you want to create your chart. So once you have access to the DOM, you want to let D3 loose on the DOM and do its thing. You don't need to change anything else. As long as you're mapping your functions correctly on every event that's happening within a React app, then you're okay. You don't need to worry about anything else. Before we dive into some code, I'm just going to reference this because I use classes. And I sleep at night, thankfully. But yeah, I want to put it out there, and if any of you are scared of classes or really disapproving, read this. It's a pretty interesting read. It's not saying that classes are the best thing in the world. It's just saying that, you know, if you use them the right way, they're okay. It's just a matter of understanding how they're meant to be used. So I'm just going to go straight into some code. Let me just move this. Right, okay. Can you hear me still? Yeah, okay. And okay, so this is just the README. You don't need to read it, but just as a note, there's a nice README, so you can have a look at it. The idea is that there's a base chart, right, that all charts inherit from, and it's just a one-level inheritance, so I'm not going crazy. I'm keeping and sticking to the rules, listening to Dan Abramov, so I can sleep at night. I'm just sharing some functionality like adding tooltips and like colors and like what happens when the mouse moves and how you place those tooltips. So that's the purpose of the base class really. Beyond that, you have like the create, update, and unmount functions. This is usually called remove, but I just called it unmount just so that it maps perfectly to component will unmount, did unmount. I think it just makes a little bit more sense, but I'm open to feedback if people think it's crazy. And then the chart component itself is just what you can make use of as part of this library. So you can just specify what kind of chart you want. So there's 3 already there. Hopefully you can all see, by the way. Let me know if I need to zoom. Feel free to shout. It's all good. Yeah, so you can sort of specify the kind of chart you want, and everything will be handled for you. And it's really simple code. It's nothing crazy. And there's a whole bunch of examples, and I'm a big fan of learning by example. So I've got the examples running, which is great, and they're right here. And the GitHub page is just here, if the internet works. Maybe not. Okay, well, all I was going to do was just go to the actual repository and look at the issues and basically pick one and work on it with you just here, like just a really small one. Hopefully I can pull it off. But okay, so we've got a whole bunch of examples here, some visualizations that are created in pure React wrapped in a really lightweight, in pure D3, wrapped in a very lightweight React component. So there's a bunch of examples here for whatever is supported. The one thing that I haven't done is show an example where the charts update. So it's just a matter of changing the props. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to change the bar chart. So as you see here, there's an example bar chart. That's a React component. We have a state which has the data, X and Y values, and some data there. And then for actually creating the chart itself, all you need to do is pass in some information like the type of chart you want, some dimensions, and whether you want to show tooltips or not. So if we want this to update, let's do this. So let's set a timeout. And let's say, I don't know, 3 seconds. And then once this happens, let's change the state. And let's just grab this and make some changes to this. So let's bring this down to 8, just random numbers here. And if we save that, do I need to change anything else? Probably not. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, no update, no. Yeah, so what am I doing wrong here? Sorry? Oh. Wait, where did I miss the this? Ah, Yes, that is true. Good point. Sorry. Where should the sorry? After the bracket, like here. Mount. Mount. What? I'm just hearing voices. Sorry. Oh, okay. Sorry. Thank you. I thought. Oh, it's quite stressful doing this, you know? Thank you, though. Sorry, I thought it was a context thing. And that's why live coding is not easy. But yeah, presumably this will work now. Yay! Okay, great. So let's go back to this. Okay, so the question is, obviously there's some pre-made charts that you can make use of, but the real question is, how does this help me with my existing charts? And this is the nice bit for me, at least. Like, if you have existing charts, all you need to do is say that you have type custom, specify that you have a custom chart, and just pass that chart in, and everything will be handled for you. There are some expectations that you actually have a create, update, and unmount function within your some custom chart in this case. So in terms of like rewriting something that already exists, chances are you won't have to do very much because D3 components, you already build them in that way. So that's quite handy. So I'm going to do some more coding. Good luck to me. Right, so what I really want to show is how if you have an existing D3 chart, you can just easily pass it in and let this all do its thing. So let's write some D3. Who actually enjoys writing D3? Yay, it's not just me. Okay, hopefully I won't mess this one up. So let's use a class just because. So I'm just going to create a simple bar chart. And then, okay, we need a constructor that passes the element. So the reason why I need this is because inside chart.js, when you're creating, when you're initializing the chart, you're actually passing the element as well as some properties. I'm going to ignore the properties because I'm not going to make use of them in any way right now. So I've got the constructor, and then we want to create a chart given some data. So let's create a linear scale. Scale.linear. Okay. And then let's give it a domain. And let's just assume that the data we're going to get is just going to be a list of numbers. So just 2, 3, 4, whatever it might be. So the maximum for this domain will be data. Cool. And then we can just give a random range. And let's say 0 to 420. Just something random, really. You can pass it as a variable of some sort. You can pass it with the props. We don't want to do that now. Okay, so d3.select. So we select the element. And then we select all the things. I was saying yesterday that would be fun if you could actually rename select all to select all the things. Maybe that's just me being very excited about something very minor. So we're going to be getting ourselves into a div. Let's pass in the data. Next up, we want to, oh, no object. We want to enter, and append some divs. So it's going to be a really simple, no SVG, no nothing. We're just doing divs, just keeping it simple. Okay, so we've appended a div, and then we want to style these things. So the most important style is the width. So we want to return basically using this linear scale that we've created. We want to get the value, and we're going to return that into pixels. And because we have a range going up to 420, then it will fall within that range. And now let's add some more styles. And as you see, inline styles, styles in JavaScript, D3. Let's just give it color. Style, background color. And let's give it blue. Okay. Oh yeah, I love this. This is taking pair programming to a whole new level. It's conference programming. Okay, text. What are we going to say? We just want to return the D. Okay, cool. Okay, we're at a good place. We don't want to update, just ignore for now. And for unmounting, let's say this.l.remove, so we make sure that the element is removed when we're all done. Okay, so we have an actual bar chart. And now we can create a component very much like this one. So another custom chart. Oh, okay. So we have some props. I'm just wary of time, so I'm just going ahead and going a little bit faster. Let's just throw in some data in there. Okay. And then for rendering, we just want to return. Oh. And let's just literally return the chart. We don't need anything else. And type equals to custom, and the custom chart that we want to pass in. Oh, too many returns. Okay, yes, going crazy here. Oh no, okay, there you go. Okay, that's a bit better. Custom chart, let's say we want to pass the bar chart. And then the data is this.state.data. Am I doing anything else silly? Where? Bracket. Too many brackets? Oh. Yes. Now we have data. Hooray. I love this. Oh. I really need to transfer that license. Okay. So, yay. So there's the chart. It's not very fancy. It's not very fancy, but just a simple way to showcase that you can just have some D3, you can throw it inside this, as long as you build it in that structure, and the rest will be handled for you. If you want to update it, then just write the D3 code inside the update function, and it will do the trick. So let's go back here. So we've seen some code, which is great. And I'm just going to say, hey, how does this improve the developer experience, which is something that sort of gained a lot of traction at React Europe. So it's nice and easy to integrate with your React applications. You don't have to rewrite any of your D3, which is quite handy. You can use your existing D3 visualizations, and if you like writing D3, like the 2 people that in this room like to write D3, yay for us. But also, you know, if you have someone in your team that really enjoys writing D3 and they want to keep writing things in D3 and they want that power, then you can give that to them, which is quite nice. And then you can keep creating things in the same way that you've always done. And then you don't need to worry about taking apart D3's approach. If that's what you're interested in, I say check out Victory, contribute to Victory, because that's a very cool project, and it's not an easy thing to do, to take what D3 does and transfer it to be within the context of React. And then, yeah, I mean, for me, it's about utilizing what each library is best at, and just doing the best that you can with what you have. And that's it for me. I think I'm within my time. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for watching me live code and fail miserably. Thank you for helping out.
We're good with time, so you have time for questions right now.
Oh, there's a timer there. I didn't realize.
Wow. There's the timer.
Oh, that's terrible. I kept looking at my... Well, anyway, okay. So, well, I like D3, but it's not the only player, right? Any good alternatives, when to use what? I mean, at least as far as I'm concerned, in terms of data visualizations, in a way, like, this might be controversial, but I do think D3 is pretty much the only player. If, like, the expressiveness and power that you get is incredible. There's lots of libraries that are built on top of D3 that you could make use of. There's C3, which is a really nice library. It's actively developed, and the person behind it is a really nice person. So, you know, it's a good community to be a part of. There's also NVD3, but I don't know how actively that's maintained. That was pretty good and pretty quick. But in terms of standalone libraries, for me, D3 is the one. I mean, I've tried a few others, but I don't think any have the power that D3 has. It's worth taking the time to actually understand how D3 works. So this is something that Colin touched on yesterday, saying how there's this culture in D3 land where people literally just copy-paste gists, and then they don't even understand how that code works. It's great to get a chart up and running without understanding how it works, yay, like, but really, you want to understand how everything falls into place, and then once you understand that, you'll be able to create D3 visualizations really quickly, and you'll be able to do anything you want, really. 20 seconds? Okay, next one. Why is everyone only considering SVG when talking about data visualizations? Why don't we embrace the usage of Canvas with React when it comes to data vis? That's a good point. I mean, 10 seconds. Canvas is cool. I haven't done very much with it, but yes, I agree. We should. Right, 3 seconds. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andreas.